It's a matter of priorities. The situation depends on what's most important. When allocating resources, it's a matter of priorities to determine the most urgent needs. Addressing climate change effectively is a matter of priorities for policymakers worldwide. Financial stability is a matter of priorities, requiring disciplined spending habits and savings. Let's dive deeper into that. Explore a topic or issue more thoroughly. The novel's symbolism is intriguing. Let's dive deeper into that and interpret its meaning. Let's dive deeper into that topic so we can fully comprehend the nuances of the situation. The argument sounds convincing, but let's dive deeper into that before drawing conclusions. If we take a closer look at encourages detailed examination. If we take a closer look at educational systems, disparities in access remain persistent. If we take a closer look at global trade policies, inconsistencies become more apparent. If we take a closer look at scientific advancements, their societal impact becomes clearer. That's true to some extent. Agreeing with part of what's been said, but not entirely. The argument holds merit, and that's true to some extent, yet it lacks empirical evidence. While economic growth is essential, that's true to some extent when reliability is ignored. That's true to some extent, but we must consider alternative perspectives before deciding. Let's address the root cause. Focus on solving the primary issue or problem. To solve poverty, let's address the root cause rather than applying temporary fixes. Instead of treating symptoms, let's address the root cause of the economic downturn. To reduce stress, let's address the root cause rather than merely managing its symptoms. Convey a sense of urgency. Communicate the urgent importance of something. Media reports often convey a sense of urgency to influence public response to crises. Political leaders must convey a sense of urgency to address national security concerns. Environmental campaigns convey a sense of urgency to protect endangered ecosystems. That's a valid point. A reasonable or sound argument. That's a valid point regarding sustainability. Long-term strategies must be prioritized. That's a valid point about balancing economic growth with environmental protection. The speaker made an interesting argument, and that's a valid point worth considering. There's no quick fix. The problem requires time or effort to solve. Economic inequality remains widespread. There's no quick fix to achieving social equity. There's no quick fix for social inequality, but education reforms can create lasting impact. Workplace dissatisfaction is increasing. There's no quick fix without addressing core issues. Let's weigh our options. Consider all possibilities before making a decision. The market is volatile. Let's weigh our options before making financial commitments. To choose the best policy, let's weigh our options and analyze economic implications. Let's weigh our options rather than rushing into a decision with sudden consequences. Take this as an example. Presenting an example to illustrate a point. Economic recessions occur periodically. Take this as an example of market fluctuations. Take this as an example. Nations who invest in education show stronger economic growth. Deforestation harms biodiversity. Take this as an example of unsustainable human activity. Apart from the positive aspects. Considering other factors beyond the positive ones. Apart from the positive aspects, one must consider the potential financial risks involved. Apart from the positive aspects, some individuals may struggle to adapt to these changes. Apart from the positive aspects, globalization has widened the gap between rich and poor. It is quite unpredictable that. It is uncertain or difficult to predict that. It is quite unpredictable that social norms will remain unchanged over the next decade. It is quite unpredictable that economic recessions can always be accurately forecasted. It is quite unpredictable that the global economy will remain stable in the coming years. I couldn't believe my ears. A reaction of surprise at something heard. I couldn't believe my ears when my friend won a prestigious international scholarship. I couldn't believe my ears when the government introduced a ban on plastic packaging. I couldn't believe my ears when the company decided to double all employee salaries. A striking contrast. A noticeable difference between things. The city's modern architecture presents a striking contrast to its ancient monuments. There is a striking contrast between urban and rural living conditions in many countries. The dramatic difference in living standards presents a striking contrast between nations. Play a pivotal role. To have a crucial or important influence. Education plays a pivotal role in reducing poverty and improving community welfare. Healthcare workers play a pivotal role in managing public health crises like pandemics. Cultural diversity plays a pivotal role in fostering global understanding and cooperation. Take the initiative. Act first or take charge of a situation proactively. Parents should take the initiative in instilling strong values in their children from birth. Students should take the initiative to explore subjects beyond the classroom curriculum. Businesses often take the initiative to improve services by listening to customer feedback. A substantial impact. A strong and meaningful effect on something. The introduction of smartphones had a substantial impact on daily life and productivity. Education reforms are likely to have a substantial impact on future generations' success. The rise in renewable energy sources is having a substantial impact on the environment. As a matter of fact. Actually, in reality, to clarify something. As a matter of fact, global warming is affecting coastal regions more than inland areas. As a matter of fact, economic inequality is widening despite efforts to address poverty. As a matter of fact, deforestation accelerates climate change and disrupts ecosystems. As far as I'm concerned. In my opinion or from my perspective. As far as I'm concerned, renewable energy is the future of the global power industry. As far as I'm concerned, social media has both positive and negative effects on society. As far as I'm concerned, technology has had both positive and negative effects on society. As opposed to. In contrast with, rather than something else. Online education, as opposed to traditional learning, offers flexibility and accessibility. As opposed to public transport, private vehicles contribute more to traffic congestion. The new policy supports innovation, as opposed to strict regulations that limit creativity. At the same time. Happening together or concurrently. Urbanization improves infrastructure, but at the same time increases pollution levels. The city is modernizing, but at the same time, it faces challenges in preserving heritage. Students need to learn theory and, at the same time, gain practical hands-on experience. Be conducive to. Help to bring about the desired result. Early childhood education is conducive to shaping future cognitive and social abilities. A peaceful environment is conducive to higher levels of concentration and productivity. Regular physical exercise is conducive to improving both mental and physical well-being. A case in point. A relevant example to support an argument. A case in point is the improvement of healthcare in developed nations over decades. A case in point is the success of countries adopting green energy policies aggressively. A case in point is the rapid technological advancements in artificial intelligence today. Be in line with. Be consistent or compatible with something. The new project is in line with the organization's long-term strategic goals and vision. The proposal is in line with the company's long-term growth objectives and strategies. The educational curriculum is in line with current technological advancements and needs. Be on the rise. Becoming more common over time. Cybersecurity threats are on the rise, making data protection more critical than ever. Unemployment rates among young adults are on the rise in many developed countries. Awareness about mental health issues is on the rise, leading to better support systems. By all means. Absolutely, without any hesitation. Governments should, by all means, regulate industries to reduce carbon emissions. If it helps the environment, by all means, adopt sustainable practices in your daily life. If you believe in the cause, by all means, take action and contribute to the movement. By no means. Absolutely not, in no way whatsoever. Traditional education is by no means obsolete, despite technological advancements. By no means should we assume that technology alone can solve all societal problems. By no means is poverty solely a result of individual failure. Structural issues are involved. By virtue of. Because of or due to something specific. By virtue of their strong relationships, they were able to expand the business quickly. He earned a scholarship by virtue of his excellent academic performance in high school. By virtue of strong leadership, the company managed to navigate through difficult times. Come to grips with. Understand and deal with a difficult situation. It can be difficult to come to grips with the challenges of living in a foreign country. The team struggled to come to grips with the new software during the training session. We must come to grips with the consequences of our actions to prevent further damage. Conducive to. Leading to or making something more likely. Reduced screen time before bed is conducive to improved sleep quality and duration. A balanced diet is conducive to maintaining optimal energy levels throughout the day. A collaborative work culture is conducive to creativity and innovation in the workplace. Consist of. Be made up of specific parts or components. The report consists of detailed data analysis, case studies, and expert recommendations. The project will consist of several stages, each with its specific objectives and deadlines. The university's curriculum consists of both theoretical and practical learning components. Contribute to. Help to bring about a particular outcome. Effective leadership skills contribute to an organization's long-term growth and success. Excessive carbon emissions contribute to global warming and environmental degradation. Volunteer work can contribute to a stronger sense of community and social responsibility. Contrary to popular belief. Opposite to what most people think. Contrary to popular belief, consuming fats in moderation is essential for a healthy diet. Contrary to popular belief, the majority of global warming is caused by human activities. Contrary to popular belief, technology is not the sole reason for social isolation in youth. Critical factor. An essential or highly important element. Access to quality education is a critical factor in shaping future economic opportunities. One critical factor in achieving success is maintaining a positive and determined attitude. Technological innovation is a critical factor in the advancement of the healthcare industry. Despite the fact that, even though something is true or exists, despite the fact that the project was difficult, the team managed to meet the deadline. Despite the fact that online education is flexible, some students struggle with self-discipline. Despite the fact that renewable energy is costly, its benefits outweigh the initial investment. Due to the fact that, because of a certain reason or cause. Due to the fact that tourism generates revenue, many countries invest in infrastructure. The company's profits decreased due to the fact that demand for its products declined. Due to the fact that pollution levels are rising, stricter regulations must be implemented. For all intents and purposes. Essentially, effectively, practically in every way. For all intents and purposes, the pandemic changed the global approach to healthcare. For all intents and purposes, artificial intelligence is revolutionizing multiple industries. For all intents and purposes, the project is complete and only minor revisions remain. For instance, as an example to illustrate a point. For instance, a study showed that meditation can improve mental clarity and reduce stress. Automation improves efficiency. For instance, self-checkout machines reduce waiting times. For instance, the implementation of recycling programs can help reduce waste in urban areas. For the most part. Generally speaking, in most situations. For the most part, urban living provides convenience but also leads to higher expenses. For the most part, the community supports the new policy, but some opposition remains. For the most part, people tend to prioritize convenience over environmental sustainability. From my point of view. Based on my personal perspective or opinion. From my point of view, social media has a negative impact on interpersonal relationships. From my point of view, the traditional education system needs significant reform to succeed. From my point of view, working remotely can lead to better work-life balance for employees. From a different perspective. Considering it in another way or viewpoint. From a different perspective, the policy might benefit small businesses in the long run. From a different perspective, failure is a stepping stone to success rather than a setback. From a different perspective, the decision may appear to be a step towards sustainability. Given that. Considering or taking into account something specific. Given that technology is advancing rapidly, educational systems must adapt accordingly. Given that urban populations are growing, cities must improve public transport systems. Given that the team performed exceptionally well, they were awarded a special recognition. However, it is worth noting. But it is important to mention. However, it is worth noting that technology can have both positive and negative effects. However, it is worth noting that economic growth does not always ensure social equality. However, it is worth noting that financial stability is not the sole determinant of happiness. In accordance with. In agreement or alignment with something. In accordance with the guidelines, the team completed the project ahead of schedule. In accordance with the new laws, businesses must report their financial activities annually. In accordance with the new law, all vehicles must pass an emissions test before registration. In contrast to. Differing from or being opposite to something. In contrast to urban areas, rural communities often lack access to advanced healthcare. In contrast to previous policies, the new reforms emphasize renewable energy sources. In contrast to last year's performance, the company has significantly increased its profits. In light of considering or due to recent information. In light of economic instability, governments should prioritize social welfare programs. In light of the financial crisis, many companies have reduced their workforce drastically. In light of the increasing pollution, stricter environmental regulations should be enforced. In particular, specifically highlighting something as important. Social media influences young people, in particular, their self-esteem and mental health. The report highlights several key issues, in particular, the need for improved healthcare. Climate change threatens biodiversity, in particular, in fragile ecosystems like coral reefs. In terms of regarding a specific aspect or category. The two cities differ greatly in terms of cultural diversity and economic development. The company has performed well in terms of profitability, despite market fluctuations. In terms of economic growth, the country has made significant progress in recent years. In the event that if something happens or takes place. In the event that technology advances rapidly, traditional jobs may become obsolete. In the event that the government fails to act, the situation could worsen significantly. In the event that economic downturns occur, unemployment rates will likely increase. In the long run. Over a long period of time. In the long run, investing in education is the most effective strategy for societal growth. In the long run, sustainable practices will reduce environmental damage and lower costs. In the long run, technological advancements could help mitigate climate change effects. In the same vein. Similarly, in a related or comparable way. In the same vein, prioritizing mental health services can improve overall quality of life. In the same vein, the researcher conducted further studies to confirm the initial results. The artist's latest work explores human emotions in the same vein as her previous pieces. In view of considering or taking into account something. In view of the current political climate, it is important to foster international cooperation. In view of the evidence, it is clear that stricter regulations are necessary to protect wildlife. In view of the recent economic downturn, many businesses are reassessing their strategies. It can be argued that some may reasonably claim or suggest this. It can be argued that technology has significantly improved the quality of education. It can be argued that social media enhances but also diminishes real-life interactions. It can be argued that climate change is the most pressing issue facing humanity today. It is of utmost importance, extremely significant and highly necessary. It is of utmost importance to develop strategies to combat global health crises effectively. It is of utmost importance to address climate change through sustainable energy solutions. It is of utmost importance that governments invest in accessible healthcare for all citizens. It stands to reason. It is logical or makes perfect sense. It stands to reason that improving public health will lead to a more productive society. It stands to reason that a well-balanced diet is crucial for maintaining long-term health. It stands to reason that regular exercise contributes to better physical and mental health. It is widely accepted that most people agree or acknowledge this. It is widely accepted that climate change is a significant threat to global ecosystems. It is widely accepted that regular physical activity contributes to improved mental health. It is widely accepted that biodiversity loss poses significant threats to global ecosystems. It is essential to highlight. It is crucial to emphasize something important. It is essential to highlight the significance of mental health awareness in modern society. It is essential to highlight the benefits of renewable energy in reducing carbon footprints. It is essential to highlight the role of education in promoting social and economic equality. It is worth considering. It is valuable to think about carefully. It is worth considering alternative energy sources to reduce dependence on fossil fuels. It is worth considering the consequences of deforestation on climate change and wildlife. It is worth considering stricter laws to curb the negative impact of misinformation online. It follows that logically, this is the next conclusion. If technology advances rapidly, it follows that industries must adapt to stay competitive. When crime rates decrease, it follows that public trust in law enforcement strengthens. It follows that investing in renewable energy will result in reduced reliance on fossil fuels. It seems clear that. It appears to be obviously true. It seems clear that excessive social media usage affects mental health and productivity. It seems clear that access to quality healthcare enhances life expectancy and well-being. It seems clear that global cooperation is essential in addressing worldwide health crises. It would be prudent to. It would be wise or sensible to. It would be prudent to invest in sustainable technologies to protect the environment. It would be prudent to address health concerns early, to avoid long-term complications. It would be prudent to prioritize mental health services, to support emotional well-being. Make a concerted effort. Put in a strong and determined effort. Schools should make a concerted effort to promote inclusivity and diversity in education. Nations must make a concerted effort to combat poverty and improve living conditions. Companies must make a concerted effort to implement sustainable production practices. More often than not. Usually, most of the time. More often than not, technological advancements bring both benefits and challenges. More often than not, students struggle with time management during academic years. More often than not, procrastination leads to increased stress and missed opportunities. Much to the contrary. Opposite to what was expected or assumed. Much to the contrary, online education can be just as effective as traditional learning. Much to the contrary, the new policies have led to a decrease in customer satisfaction. Much to the contrary, experts agree that the proposed solution is not feasible in practice. Not only, but also. Emphasizing two connected points together. Not only do books provide information, but also improve cognitive and language skills. Not only is technology reshaping industries, but it is also changing human relationships. Not only does education shape personal growth, but it also influences societal progress. On the contrary. Opposite to what was just mentioned. On the contrary, remote work has increased productivity rather than reducing it. On the contrary, some believe that stricter laws can lead to more inequality in society. On the contrary, many argue that technology does not always improve the quality of life. On the other hand, considering an alternative point of view. Online education offers flexibility, on the other hand, it lacks face-to-face interaction. Social media connects people. On the other hand, it affects real-life communication skills. Tourism boosts economies. On the other hand, it can lead to environmental degradation. On the whole. Generally speaking, considering everything together. On the whole, international trade agreements contribute to global economic stability. On the whole, public transport remains a more sustainable option than private vehicles. On the whole, international cooperation has led to improved standards of living globally. One can infer that a reasonable conclusion can be drawn. One can infer that social media influences public opinion on political and social issues. One can infer that advancements in artificial intelligence will reshape many industries. One can infer that urban expansion contributes to deforestation and loss of biodiversity. One way or another. Somehow, by any possible means. One way or another, individuals must contribute to reducing global carbon emissions. One way or another, businesses need to adapt to the changing demands of consumers. One way or another, governments must ensure that basic healthcare is accessible to all. On the basis of. Based on specific reasoning or evidence. Students are graded on the basis of their performance throughout the academic year. On the basis of recent trends, online shopping is likely to replace traditional retail stores. Climate policies should be formed on the basis of long-term environmental impact studies. Opposed to. Against or in disagreement with something. Environmentalists are opposed to deforestation because it accelerates climate change. Some communities remain opposed to large-scale, industrial projects in residential areas. Scientists are strongly opposed to deforestation due to its environmental consequences. Over and above. In addition to something already mentioned. Over and above economic concerns, climate change requires immediate global action. The scholarship covers tuition fees over and above, accommodation and living expenses. The government must invest in education over and above healthcare to ensure progress. Provided that. Only if a certain condition is met. Economic growth is sustainable, provided that natural resources are used responsibly. Provided that regulations are strictly enforced, corruption can be significantly minimized. Online education can be effective, provided that students have access to digital resources. Regarding the matter of. Concerning or about a specific issue. Regarding the matter of climate change, immediate global action is crucial for mitigation. The discussion regarding the matter of healthcare reform continues among policymakers. Regarding the matter of climate change, urgent policies must be implemented worldwide. Result in. Cause or lead to a particular outcome. Poor time management can result in lower productivity and increased stress levels. Rising global temperatures result in extreme weather events and ecological imbalances. Economic instability may result in higher unemployment and reduced consumer spending. Significantly enhance. Greatly improve or increase something. Artificial intelligence can significantly enhance efficiency in various industries and sectors. Investing in employee training programs can significantly enhance workplace productivity. Government subsidies significantly enhance access to healthcare for low-income families. So far as. To the extent that something is true. So far as employment is concerned, automation is reshaping traditional job markets. So far as economic stability is concerned, fiscal policies must be carefully implemented. So far as student motivation goes, interactive learning techniques are highly beneficial. Take into account. Consider or factor in certain details. Employers should take into account work-life balance when setting workplace policies. When making decisions, it is important to take into account both the risks and rewards. Taking into account technological expansions, traditional job roles may become obsolete. That said, however, considering what was previously stated, technology improves efficiency. That said, it also raises concerns about job displacement. Education is crucial. That said, practical experience often outweighs theoretical knowledge. Renewable energy is promising. That said, its implementation remains costly and complex. The fact remains that it is still true despite arguments. The fact remains that poverty continues to affect millions despite economic progress. The fact remains that old education methods remain relevant despite digital innovations. The government has passed several laws. The fact remains that crime rates continue to rise. The key point to remember. The most important detail to recall. The key point to remember is that public health policies are essential for well-being. The key point to remember is that pollution affects both urban and rural communities. The key point to remember is that technology influences almost every aspect of our lives. The matter of concern. The issue that needs attention. Environmental degradation is the matter of concern for many scientists worldwide. The matter of concern is the rising pollution levels affecting urban populations globally. The lack of affordable housing has become a critical matter of concern for many families. The rationale behind. The reasoning or justification for something. The rationale behind high taxation on tobacco is to discourage excessive smoking habits. The rationale behind censorship laws is to prevent the spread of harmful misinformation. The rationale behind sustainable development is to ensure future generations' well-being. The widespread belief. The commonly accepted opinion or idea. The widespread belief is that globalization enhances cultural exchange and diversity. The widespread belief is that higher education guarantees better career opportunities. The widespread belief in the power of social media has changed how we communicate. To a large extent. Mostly, for the most part. To a large extent, globalization has led to economic growth in developing nations. To a large extent, financial stability determines an individual's overall quality of life. To a large extent, public opinion affects governmental decisions in democratic nations. To be honest. Truthfully, to speak openly and directly. To be honest, traditional education methods need to be updated to suit modern needs. To be honest, excessive reliance on technology reduces human interaction in daily life. To be honest, stricter environmental policies are necessary to combat global warming. To illustrate. To provide an example or explanation. To illustrate, countries with universal healthcare systems report lower mortality rates. To illustrate, remote work has increased productivity in various industries worldwide. To illustrate, many cities have adopted electric buses to reduce air pollution significantly. To put it differently. Expressing the same idea in another way. To put it differently, technology simplifies tasks but can reduce human interactions. To put it differently, global warming can be mitigated by reducing carbon emissions. The cost of living is rising. To put it differently, people's purchasing power is decreasing. To sum up. To conclude or briefly summarize something. To sum up, a balanced diet and exercise are essential for maintaining good health. To sum up, education is the foundation for achieving sustainable economic growth. To sum up, government intervention is crucial in addressing climate change challenges. To take matters further. To go deeper into a discussion. To take matters further, governments must invest more in renewable energy sources. To take matters further, companies should implement stronger cybersecurity measures. To take matters further, research funding should be increased to find medical solutions. To a certain degree. To some extent, but not entirely. To a certain degree, environmental policies have improved urban air quality in cities. To a certain degree, online learning cannot replace the benefits of in-person education. To a certain degree, automation reduces employment opportunities in certain industries. To some extent. Partially true, but not completely. To some extent, remote work enhances productivity while reducing commuting stress. To some extent, social media fosters global connectivity and cross-cultural interactions. To some extent, climate change policies depend on political will and public awareness. Under the circumstances. Given the specific situation or conditions. Under the circumstances, adopting flexible work policies ensured business continuity. Under the circumstances, delaying economic reforms could worsen financial instability. Under the circumstances, strict safety measures were necessary to control the outbreak. Undoubtedly. Without question, certainly and unquestionably true. Undoubtedly, education plays a fundamental role in a nation's economic development. Undoubtedly, globalization has led to increased trade and economic interdependence. Undoubtedly, strict environmental policies can help reduce pollution levels significantly. Unquestionably. Beyond doubt, absolutely certain and undeniable. Unquestionably, investing in scientific research leads to technological breakthroughs. Unquestionably, education is the key to reducing poverty and improving social mobility. Unquestionably, climate change remains one of the greatest challenges of modern times. With regard to concerning or about a specific subject. With regard to education, governments should invest more in public school systems. With regard to healthcare, access to affordable treatment remains a global challenge. With regard to technology, artificial intelligence has revolutionized multiple industries. With the aim of, with the goal or intention of. Environmental groups raise awareness with the aim of promoting sustainable practices. Scientists develop renewable energy sources with the aim of reducing carbon emissions. Researchers conduct experiments with the aim of finding innovative medical treatments. Stand the test of time. To last and remain relevant over time. Traditional values often stand the test of time, despite societal changes and progress. Ancient architectural wonders continue to stand the test of time, showcasing resilience. Great ideas often stand the test of time, influencing generations long after their creation. Yield positive results. Produce beneficial or favorable outcomes. A strong emphasis on teamwork can yield positive results in organizational performance. Early intervention in education can yield positive results in student academic achievement. Implementing these strategies will yield positive results for economic growth in the region.